In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Cocoon Gadget. I'm Tom, the founder of Pack Hacker. We share our travel tips and tricks. We do guides and reviews just like this one. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. Nathan, our video editor, contributor, as well as vlogger over at his own channel, Always a Friday, has been using the Cocoon Gadget for well over a year. So I'm excited to jump in and share our thoughts with you.
Cocoon's Gadget Organizer is effectively a flat panel featuring a unique weave of rubberized bands designed to hold and organize all your gadgets. When you first take a look at this thing, it's actually pretty simple. You slot your gadgets in, like your hard drives, batteries and wires, placing them in whatever configuration works best for you. And that's what's really great about this thing. It's completely customizable. There are hundreds of ways to fit all of your different items in. Just note though that if you plan on utilising all of the space, it may take a little while to figure out the best configuration to put all of your items in. However, once you crack it, you're good to go. The rubberized dots on the elastic bands here are what really brings all of this together. They're grippy enough so that if you slot something inside of it, it shouldn't be going anywhere. Because of the different lengths and widths of the bands on the Gadget, you can fit various sized objects in here. So it works perfectly with something like an external hard drive, but it works equally as well with smaller items like an SD card holder or a small camera battery because the rubberized texture locks them in. If you can fit the item within the bands, you can pretty much trust that it'll stay in place. You can put two bands over just for that added security like we do with the hard drive, as you can see here. But we do feel that there is a limit to the size of object you can fit in this thing. We sometimes put a MacBook charger in, but it's pretty heavy and we don't do it often as it makes it feel a tad lopsided. We've actually never had anything fall out of the Cocoon Gadget, and we've become really trusting in just how good the Gadget technology is. That being said though, we are really careful with how we use it. It's very, very rarely put in the main compartment of a bag where items and gadgets could snag on stuff and become loose. We found the ideal place to store your Gadget is in either a bag's secondary compartment or in a large mesh pocket. One downside to this thing is that it offers no protection whatsoever. It's there to organise your gadgets, not protect them. So just be careful with where you put it. Make sure that the bag's compartment it's in is padded enough, you're not throwing it around at all. You know, if you've got important items in this thing, just make sure you treat it like it's got important items in. The medium-sized Gadget organizer that we've been testing is 12 inches in width, 0.375 inches in depth, and 8 inches in height. And we found this size to be perfect for one bag travel. It'll fit into any day pack or any travel bag with ease, and of course it's just big enough to hold all of the essential gadgets. If you're after something a bit smaller or larger though, fear not, Cocoon has you covered. They offer lots of different sizes, from a 7x5 inch extra small to an 11x15 inch large. The weight of the medium-sized organizer comes in at 0.731 pounds, but of course that's with nothing inside of it. The greatest consideration with weight comes when you start adding things in. Of course, little bits like SD card holders and USB sticks aren't going to add much weight, but once you start chucking in external hard drives and even a MacBook charger, this thing is really going to add up. Even though the whole front panel of this thing is made up of the Gadget weave, it's still rocking some cool additional features. What we really like is the back zipped compartment. Now, you want to make sure that the items you do put in here are relatively flat, but it's great for stuff like passports, and we even used it as a little hidden compartment to store some extra cash while we were traveling. And there's also a small loop tab on one of the sides of this thing. Now, we're not 100% sure what it's for, but you could maybe attach your keys to it, or hang it up on a wall, something like that. We've actually never used it, but it is there if you want to. After 3 years of testing our medium-sized Cocoon Gadget organizer, it's held up remarkably well. Now it is usually safely tucked away in a bag or sat on a table, so that probably adds to it keeping so well, but still 3 years is a pretty long time. The only notable signs of use are that it's a tiny bit frayed and discoloured around the edges. It certainly doesn't look brand new, but it definitely doesn't look tatty either. We've also found the elasticity of the bands to be really good. If you put something larger in, like that MacBook charger that we mentioned earlier on, once it's taken out, the band will just flex back to the original position. You'd expect a small loss of tension, but the Gadget really impressed here. And as we mentioned earlier on, we have never had anything fall out of this thing, and considering we've been using it for 3 years, that really is quite remarkable. As you can see here, we've got heavier items like an external hard drive, smaller items where there's maybe a little bit less tension in the bands with the USB stick and the SD cards. But once you shake that around, there's just no movement whatsoever. It really is great. See? Everything is still firmly in place. Incredible. So moving on to some pros, the Gridit technology is really great and it will hold everything firmly in place. The zipped back compartment is a really cool additional feature, and this thing is completely customizable with endless configurations of how you can fit all of your gadgets in. Now on to some cons. It does take a little while to figure out the best configuration for all of your gadgets. It's not ideal for bulkier, heavier items, and it doesn't protect your items whatsoever. The Cocoon Gridit Organizer is probably an item you don't realise you need until you have one. We've all become so used to gadgets lying around, stuffed in the bottom of bags or pouches, that you wouldn't think to go out of the way to actually use a Gridit. But if you make the effort, after a little while, this is an item that you'll be lost without. And once you have all of your important gadgets neatly organised and in one place, it's likely you'll never go back.
Thanks for taking a look at our review on the Cocoon Gridit. Be sure to head over to packhacker.com/newsletter, sign up for that newsletter, and never miss an update. Thanks for taking a look. We'll see you in the next video.
It'll be... We're good.